Today we're going to be looking at the 5UC mod for Civilization 5, and what it does is it adds 3 new components to each of the existing civilizations. And I'm going to give you my impression on how good these new components actually are. So without further ado, let's jump straight in. The steel mill, plus 2 production from iron and coal tiles. If you're playing on strategic balance, that's a guaranteed plus 2 production in your capital. But beyond that, it's really hit or miss whether it's going to impact your cities that much. And I don't believe settling towards iron and coal dense regions just to get some decent yields from this factory is a worthy cause. Your cities should be well established by this point, and coal is not discovered until very late into the game. And plus 15% faster build speed for naval, air and armoured. Given the sheer amount of production you're about to have with this civilization, I don't think that really matters. It might save you a turn here or there to get a B-17 out later in the game, but negligible. I'd say it was potentially really good. At maximum, you could probably get about 8 production in one of your cities, 8 production being very optimistic, and at least 0, so I'd say it was a relatively average to mediocre building. So the ranch, plus 1 production and 1 food from bison, cows, deer, horses and sheep. But you lose the production towards mounted units. I don't think that's a massive nerf, and in fact I think this building is really, really good. It generates 1 cow, sheep, bison or deer near the city when built. So let's say that you settle somewhere that has 3 cows and 1 sheep, which is again optimistic but totally possible as I've actually done this. So let's say that situation plays out. You build a stable, you get horses from strategic balance, and all of a sudden you have plus 6 food in your city. 6 food is enough to get a Lake Victoria, and you're definitely going to be working all of these tiles. So I'd say the ranch is really good, and you may opt to go tall rather than wide, purely because of this building's existence. And lastly, the saloon can be built in any city, plus 1 happiness and plus 25% border expansion speed. Since America is going to be buying every single tile in existence anyway, I'd argue that the 25% border expansion is arguably worthless. And the lesser maintenance, it doesn't matter that much. And plus 1 happiness, I wish they would have given this building plus 2 happiness. 1 happiness just isn't, it's not enough to save you from unhappiness problems. Let's read what the author has to say about this. The ranch will assist with expanding Washington's population and production in the early game. The steel mill also boosts production and lets him build his military quicker so he can spend more time building whatever he wants. Washington loves to go wide. In the situation I just described, e.g., you settle a place with 4 livestock animals. Maybe not, because all of a sudden you have a Lake Victoria at your disposal. You could go very, very tall and simply rush B-17s. That's the strategy I've been using with this civilization. Go very tall, rush B-17s with a livestock-rich area, and then just out-hammer your opponent in the late game and crush them in war. So the saloon is available in any city to provide the happiness needed for more growth. 1 happiness isn't enough for that. Not near enough. I mean, would you build a stone works, for example, if you are in happiness problems? Probably not. So next we have Arabia. and we have the Ghazi Swordsman. Extra defensive terrain bonus, plus 15% defense in hills, forest and jungle, and it prevents religious spread when garrisoned. So swordsmen are relatively weak if you ask me. Many games I find myself not building a single swordsman. But if you're not using the same mods that I'm using, that prevent great prophets and missionaries from simply entering your lands and converting your cities, which is really a pain, really annoying, then the Ghazi Swordsman might actually be really useful to just chuck a few of these in your cities. But beyond that, I've played this mod with Arabia and didn't end up buying a single Ghazi Swordsman, and I think it's a relatively weak unit. So next we have the Madrasa. It gives plus 4 faith straight up. So 4 faith on universities is potentially really good if you have a very wide empire, but it fails to help you to actually get a religion. So in my opinion, it would have been better if the Madrasa was actually a library instead, considering early on you're going to be rushing libraries down, whereas some civilizations may actually have religions by the time you get universities, so it fails to help you in that regard. That said, if you manage to establish a religion early on, 4 faith on universities is quite good. So again, it's hit or miss. And next we have the Fundak. Plus 2 gold and plus 4 gold instead of 2 for land trade routes originating from this city. It's a marginal gold buff. I don't really see how I can elaborate on this more. It's a moderate bonus at best. So yeah, and let's see what the author has to say about this. Harun al-Rashid has a high emphasis on religion, but has nothing to help him develop it. And I would argue that none of these bonuses provided change that fact, because religion is something that you're primarily focused upon early on. If you're going to go for religion, you care about it early. You care about getting pantheon beliefs that generate faith. And some civilizations will have religions far before they get universities, so the faith buffed university helps him out in this regard. In my opinion, not so much, but okay. As does the Ghazi. Which is great at preventing religious conversions. That is true. But what if you don't get a religion? Let me give you an example. What if the Celts are in the game? Are you going to be able to compete with them on a religious level? Or what about Byzantium? And when you see the changes that have been made to Byzantium in this mod, you'll see what I mean. Arabia simply cannot compete for religion early on, so it's lucky if they do get a religion, which this mod has failed to address really. He also loves to generate gold, and the unique caravansary stacks very well with his trait. So I don't think the problem that was attempted to be addressed in this mod was fixed at all. So yeah, I have some moderate bonuses, but Arabia were quite strong anyway, so I don't think it's too great a deal. The last civilization that we're going to look at today is going to be Assyria, and Royal Guard, 15% combat bonus when attacking. So I believe 15% combat bonus translates into plus 2 strength, which is marginal, but nevertheless it's a bonus. And I don't believe this bonus means that you skip ranged units altogether. I believe that ranged units can still complement your army around this time very effectively, but there isn't much more to say. They obsolete very quickly and it's not that much of a bonus. The Walls of Sargon, plus 2 production, so essentially it's trying to incentivize you to build a useless building with 2 production, which is an unimproved hill tile. So you could build this to try and get some more siege rams out a bit quicker earlier, but to production, that's going to fall off very quickly. It could aid you on an early rush, so you may wish to consider this if you're going to early war. And lastly, they have the Lamassu. +5 city combat strength, no maintenance cost, and 15 XP to units trained by the city. So it's basically a barracks and a shrine in one, which when coupled with an actual barracks can give you double promoted siege units early on, which as siege towers are so resistant to cities early on anyway. If you just rush your opponent with a ton of siege towers and they happen to have a flatland city, it's probably game over right there for them. So no maintenance cost is particularly good early on, and therefore the shrine is really good. The Lamassu is a great building. Very strong early rushes from this civilization. And let's check the authors. Ashurbanipal is aggressive, as are his new spearmen, which have an offensive attack bonus. His new walls give a small but early boost to production, giving him another reason to build them early. I don't know what you mean by another reason, because building walls is essentially a terrible idea on any civilization, especially a civilization that has the desire to go to war early. Why would you build walls? You're attacking your opponent, not defending. So, just something to consider. His new shrine replacement helps fuel war even further. I agree there, the Lamassu is really good and you should definitely be getting it, and if you happen to get a religion, that can aid your ability to go to war even more. So, I hope you enjoyed this. I'll be covering more civilizations from this mod very soon. And yeah, I'll leave it like that. Goodbye.